All right. I wanted to show this, just so people will know, just for certain tips of self defense, especially for fellow TIs if you are in a possession of a firearm. This is for your own defense so that you basically will not get railroaded, okay? So then, first thing before I even begin this article, I wanted to just mention that I do not I do not tolerate, or do I not even recommend recklessness and of use of a firearm in any way, shape, or form. I do not. I do not believe that a firearm should ever have to be used. That should be only time that should be used is as a last resort, and only when you are threatened with equal force. Now, the only time that this would become initiative that would be, leveled to equal force is, well, if you're outnumbered, or if the other, if the perp has a firearm themselves. Understand, your life has to be in imminent danger for this situation. All right. Now, in this guy's case, above arrived home after. Now let's read this article. Randy Smith above arrived home after work to find three young men intent on stealing his stuff. One of whom was standing. People understand. Don't ever sell yourself for materialistic stuff. Don't. And this is one of the reasons why I'm just getting off the grid now. Getting off the grid because it's just too much going on here. There's too much in the cities, too much. It's just too much unnecessary BS. And then, a lot of us are just not in the mood to put up with it. We're not. I mean, it's too much, man. It's just too much. But anyway, let's continue. Brandished his carry gun to keep all three bad guys at bay until the cops arrive. I've been broken once before, Smith told WTOK.com. I'm just tired of people stealing. I worked too hard for what I got, and for somebody to just come in and steal it from me, somebody who's not working, just out there to looking for somebody to rip off and steal from, fair enough. And then one of them kind of just act like he wanted to come around the car. He's fired in the air and told him to stop, or the next would be him. Well, now here's the deal. In his defense on this subject, first off, those goons could have, if they're trying to flee off, you don't know what they're gonna do. You don't know if they're trying to run off, go grab a firearm, and then come back. You don't know that. So let's key that part in right there. You don't know if they're rushing out to go grab something and then rush back. You don't know that. That is a possibility of something that could happen. So let's key that factor in, in the first slot. So going on a little bit further, first off, I don't, even if you fire, look, if you fire in the air, dude, I don't even recommend doing that because you don't know where the bullet's gonna go. If you shoot something up, it's gonna come back down and it's gonna come down on something. It's going to. And you have no way of predicting where it could end up at. So, you maybe wonder, well, where would you fire a warning shot? If at all possible, the ground, as long as you're not in a building. If you're in a building that and under no circumstances should you ever be using such a thing. Ever. Because you're not going to know where it's going to go. You don't know. This is why I always recommend non-lethal. Always recommend non-lethal. You got your stun guns. You got your tasers. You got your pepper spray. You can use anything to incapacitate someone so it doesn't become a situation to where you're being assaulted. In the end, you just incapacitate the person who's trying to, who's trying to escalate the situation and assault you. But only if they make that attempt. That's the only situation when you ever should do that. The only reason why I'm even doing this article right now is because I felt the need to do this for people who may not be aware because of the times that we're currently in. As you already know, these people, and let me go ahead and tell you a scenario that happened to a fellow TI that I basically had watched. He had, this is a target individual now. There was a bunch of, they sent a bunch of perps towards him. They assaulted him. He was thinking, what should I do at this moment? They apparently beat the crap out of him. After a little while, he's outnumbered. They beat the crap out of him. He reaches for his firearm. Sends one round into one of the guy's legs. He doesn't kill the guy. He just sends a round to his leg. Now, in this instance, first off, they could have beat that guy. They could have beaten him to death. All right, that's an imminent possibility that could have happened. He doesn't know these people, and yet they show up to do this. People, I hope you start to understand why getting off the grid is important, and why actually meeting up with other fellow TIs is important. There's other ways to warn, literally ward people off. And under no circumstances should you ever brandish a firearm. Never. Don't ever do that. In other situations, always read whenever you purchase. If you're a first time firearm owner, always, read your manual. Learn the ins and outs of that piece, so that so that you know what you're doing. Recklessness is not something that you want to have at all when it comes to that. Don't ever, let your kids stumble upon your firearms. Don't ever let that happen. Don't, because first off, I don't think I should ever have to mention a lot of these stupid ass kids that you see in these damn, fantasy video. I call it fantasy videos because they're toying around with shit that's very, it's not that the equipment is dangerous. It's how they're handling that's dangerous. A gun's not necessarily dangerous. The person's reckless behavior is dangerous. A firearm can't do anything on its own. It can't load itself. It can't fire itself. It can't. Not unless you put a machine on it. But that's still something, that's causing it to, take action. So, what would situations be of self-defense? Well, first off, you want to always have surveillance. Every time. Surveillance equipment is your number one defense. So they cannot lie, they cannot make shit up, and they can't do any of that. Now then, the next thing that you need to know is first off, the next thing that always again, pepper spray. Dude, pepper spray is a good way to deal with that. Even if it's multiple people, it's a good way because you can actually have that thing continuously spraying as you go by. If they get near enough, they're going to end up getting that in their eyes. Remember, always try to exit out of a conflict situation. Never engage. Never. This is my advice to fellow TIs. If they send goons towards you, they will desperately try to get you to engage. They will always try to do that. They'll come up with any stupid ass excuse to do that. Okay? They will. Now, whenever they send goons towards me, I don't brandish the firearm. I brandish the pepper spray. I make sure that's in clear. I make damn certain they can see it. I make damn certain they can see it. Because, if anybody was dumb enough to try anything, well, you're going to get, I'm sorry, but you're going to have, I'm going to protect myself, period. But it's so bad because there's people out there, who aren't even in positions to even defend themselves, There's a lot of people, especially TIs out there, who are not in a position to defend themselves when it comes to this, man. Really. It truly is. We really gotta make a settlement or something. Something, man. Something off grid, some type of settlement, some type of something for fellow TIs because, this situation's getting bad for so many people out there, man. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and finish this article. On one hand, a warning shot is highly inadvisable, especially if you don't live in a rural Mississippi. It opens you up to charges of recklessness, endangerment, or some such thing. I guess what they mean by rural, it means you cannot be like in a residential like area where there's a whole bunch of buildings and stuff around. But if you're in a rural area, there's barely anything around. There's barely like any other crap around. This is why it's important for me to get off the grid. I ain't gotta worry. I won't have to worry about that shit. And understand, it's not. Someone would have to literally intentionally go all the way out to where I'm gonna be at. You can't. At that point, you ain't got no fucking excuse. You ain't got no fucking excuse for your shit. Period. They don't. Because your ass would have had to hightail it and you would have known where the fuck I was at because someone told you and someone paid you. Oh, yeah. Oh, hell yeah. But in the end, remember, people, protect your family and protect your protect your family as best you can, because it's more apparent, if you had noticed, the police are not doing their job. And I find it real fucking funny, though. I find this real funny because I'm seeing squad cars on every fucking street. I'm on damn near almost every fucking street corner. And I'm like, these assholes are so infatuated with a TI, but they're not handling their shit. They're not fucking doing their job. Can you imagine the amount of people who would be pissed off at this? Can you imagine that? People who had their shop broke the fuck in. People who had their shit taken like that. People who's even been gunned down by these goons who were hired to do it. And they would see, can you imagine the amount of how pissed off people would be if they saw these fuckers high-fiving the rioters, the videos that I've seen? Not just high-fiving these motherfuckers. Not just standing there not doing anything. But the fact that they're so fixated on targeted individuals, literally doing shit like that, but they can't fucking save them people? They can't stop that shit, the rioting? Are you fucking serious? You don't need to be in no fucking law enforcement if your ass is gonna sit there and not do your fucking job and deal with those rioters. Then they got the situation where they want to defund the police. Man, look. Dude, it's difficult. I know there's good cops out there. There is. I know there is. But there's just too much fucking corruption, man. There's too much. There's way too much. This program that does this. And again, I'm showing this article for TI's defense and for other people's defense so they will not fuck with you. So they will not railroad you, because they will try that. They will try to, try to start a domestic violence bullshit on you. I've seen through that shit. You think they haven't tried that shit with me? They tried it with that fucked up McDonald's incident. And I played the shit perfectly. I exited out of the hostile environment. I tried to leave. And I wasn't leaving the store with the crime at the scene. No, of what that dude was doing. No, I just wanted to get away from that guy. I kept telling him, stay the fuck away from me. Why are you still following me? But he kept doing it. He kept perpetuating it. People, that is known as a tactic of intimidation. That is intimidation. What in the hell would motivate this man to try to intimidate me? I ask you that one question because the evidence is there. Their bullshit ain't gonna work, because if is the fact that I have that footage, the fact that I have all of that shit, and the fact that I even have proof that the fucking staff was in on it. Come on. Come the fuck on, bro. There's no way in hell they can basically roll that Jabu bullshit on me again. It won't work. Because you want to know what I'm going to do if they try that shit again? I'm going to show that footage. I'm going to show that fucking audio log of them trying to intimidate me. And remember this shit. As I didn't upload this other footage, I actually got the actual look, the actual image of that squad car of what it looked like, its numbers, its plates that was parked in front of the fucking pharmacy. And guess what? That was the exact same motherfucker who showed up at the McDonald's. The exact same squad car. Exactly. Now, let me tell you something. They try to roll up with some other shit when I try to go off grid, they're going to make it worse for themselves. I promise you that. Because at that point, I'm going to have all that I need to blow this shit out of proportion completely. But you know something? Don't be surprised. You got to understand, even when I went out today, the day I was supposed to leave, dude, they got so fucking desperate. It's insane. Like, I can't make this up. They got so damn desperate. Man, I think they fired some of the people who I basically been telling the truth to. I won't name where or when. But I'm warning people that seems to be like a trend that they got going on. When people find out too much information and they don't want to play for their team, they fuck with people like that. They'll screw you out of a job, screw you out of your livelihood, and fuck you over. That's what they're doing. So, this video is also for my own defense as well. I do not advocate any type of misuse of a firearm in any way, shape, or form. I do not believe that it should ever come to usage of such an item at all. I believe people can, there's always the option to talk things out. The first line of defense is and this is for educational reasons, so they can't come up in here and talk some bullshit. No. There's talking shit out, which, last time I checked, I do have freedom of speech, motherfucker. Last time I checked. And please pardon my language. But, it's good that people are going to have to know this. Just so that they cannot use this shit against anybody. Because they will try that. They will. I promise you they will. This is why it's important to know your rights. This is why it's important to know the ins and outs of every situation that they may try. So again, the first line of defense is your words. Second line of defense is hand-to-hand combat, if possible, to incapacitate the enemy, or anything non-lethal, pepper spray or taser, something like that. And hopefully you should never have to go and deal with this kind of stuff. But, looking at what's happening nowadays, man, just seeing that stuff for what it is, dude, that shit ain't pretty. It's pretty damn bad. It really is. These people who do this do not care. They don't, man. And it's either that or they're just controlled. And that's even more of a reason they're more of a threat to everybody else, if anything, due to their reckless behavior. You can't make that shit up. Are people supposed to forget everything that they've seen on the Twitter? Come on, man. So they weren't throwing firecrackers at people. They basically were not beating people down in the streets in these protests. They weren't really doing that kind of shit. Come on, dude. Seriously, no. No. I am pretty damn worried about a lot of target individuals out there. Some who can't even get out of their fucking home. Some of them who can't even get out of their damn home, man. Because of the fucked up system. I want to point out another thing. Because I'm calling all of this shit out before it happens. Understand this. I only advocate safety at the utmost, to the utmost level. I believe safety for all people in this situation. Okay? So, as I mentioned before, it should never have to come to a scenario where you ever use a firearm. No. And then once more, I'm pointing this out, motherfuckers who basically try to set me up because I'm doing this for my defense. It should never have to come to that. It shouldn't be a scenario to where I'm on my way out of here and there's people showing the fuck up trying to fuck with me. Because if it does happen, and I'm calling this out ahead of time, if possible, those people were orchestrated and hired by the or the police already know who those motherfuckers are. They know. They talked to these motherfuckers, and they enabled them to do what they were, what they showed up to do. To do they dirt. I'm calling it out, but prior to the shit happening, prior to it, and this is important, when you call their shit out before any of their setups, any of their psyop bullshit, this works in your defense. It works in your defense and literally shatters their plans of their crap completely. Now, understand, they do send these goons in these hallways to record. They do. I know how they'll basically walk out. They'll fuck with the elevator, but they won't go down the elevator. They'll stay in the halls. I know. And you best believe I got evidence of that shit, too. Oh, yeah. I got evidence of that. They think I don't, though. So, fellow TIs, here's my advice for your safety on the situation when it comes to self-defense. Number one, use your words on the situation for your safety. When it comes to a lot of their tactics, they like to intimidate you quite a lot. Do not fall for their bullshit. Because in the end, if they're talking shit, they're never going to address you by name. It's verbal harassment, but it's only gestures related to possibly a topic that's having something or anything to do with you, or something of which they are assuming has something to do with you. Don't fall for this trap. Now, you got the other tactic that they like to use. Now, they don't want to talk to me, dude. I can tell you this right now. They do not like talking to me at all. They don't. They tell every single perp who's plays for their team, don't fucking talk to them. I proved why they don't want to fucking talk to me several fucking times. Need I have to do it again? As I'll be damn happy to do it. I've turned these fucking conversations to my side. Just like that. They tried so many times and failed. So many times. But you see, this is why they stole my old audio recorder. It should be obvious to people as to why they would do that. They did it because it literally had the recordings of every conversation of all these setups that they tried on me. So when I show that, if I was to show some shit like that in my defense, people are going to be looking at them like, why are you trying to set this man up? What the hell is all these attempts? Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and 5. What are all these attempts showing up of them trying to set him up? Why? What's up with that? They're going to be sitting there looking stupid. Literally, no joke. But don't worry. Don't worry. I know exactly how to handle situations like that. For one thing, calling it out before it happens is key part number 1 in your line of defense. And here's how it's going to go down. Anyone, I don't give a fuck who it is, whether man, woman, or child, shows up acting funny, doing something scripted in relation to previous things that I've mentioned whatsoever, are a part of a setup that's designated and orchestrated for me, but was not set up by me. I'm calling it out before this shit happens. I'm calling out the colors that these idiots wear. I'm calling out the verbal harassment that these idiots use. I'm calling out all the tactics that I've mentioned in the past related to every single thing that they have done. This is my statement on my line of defense before I head out there. If these goons try anything, understand this. It was orchestrated. The police knew about it. The FBI knew about it. They all knew about it. And they told them to do it. So if anything does happen, that's proving my point that this is bullshit. And these assholes really are stalking me. The FBI is involved, the police involved, the people at my job, at my old job's involved, and the people who work in this fucking building are involved. Every single one of them. That will prove my case. And I'm calling it out again. I hope this is a good example for TIs how they can use tactics like this as a line of defense. Calling shit out before it has a possible chance of happening. That's how you can use that kind of shit against them. Because what happens when you actually mention something and it actually just so happens to happen exactly how you predicted it would happen? Clearly, this shit's been happening quite a lot for you to know that. It would have had to been. People, you may want to be very careful about these police groups that are also, trying to. I'm just calling this shit out for what I've seen because, be vigilant and be very mindful and protectful of that fucking blue line thing, that single blue line on the flag, on the black and white flag. You can look up the hidden meaning behind that shit. This is just my warning to all on that. But let me go ahead and finish this article here. So on one hand, a warning shot is highly inadvisable. That's true because you don't know where it's going to go. Especially if you don't live in a rural Mississippi, it opens you up to charges of reckless danger or some such thing. And it's true. You don't. Now, here's another thing, people. In my old apartment complex, this happened around, like 12? Motherfucking 12 o'clock at night? Or in the morning, actually? Yeah, in the morning. Some dumbass, I don't know who the fuck this dude was, but they got spooked when I fucking went out there to investigate. I'm telling you, they got fucking spooked. They fucking did. One of these idiots went out there. He fired. I'm telling you, one of these idiots, one of these gang stalkers went outside, fired a whole bunch of rounds. I don't know fucking know where he fired at. I don't know. I have no idea where the fuck he fired at all. I warned the the people who were working at the fucking building, the building about this shit. I was already warned about the neighborhood about, like, the dude was yelling gibberish and fired off a firearm. I don't fear death, motherfucker. I don't fear death and I don't fear you. No. Because that fear you trying to fucking generate is an attempt to try to steal my soul. You can't have that. No. Hell no. Wherever the fuck these goons plan on doing, you better bring it on, bitch. Because I'm not afraid of you. At all. There are plenty of other people who are not afraid of you. I'm not speaking this as an advocate of violence. I'm speaking this as an advocate of honesty and justice on this part. You cannot fear these types of people. Now, here's the deal. What that dude did was very fucking reckless and very stupid. Screw whatever the fuck is happening to me. How does he not know where that shit's gonna go? How does he not know that and he did that shit? People, this happened in a residential neighborhood. When this shit happened, I didn't have any I was not in possession of any type of self-defense tool at all. I had nothing. Not no pepper spray, not no knife, nothing, man. I didn't have anything when this shit went down. Nothing. That same day that shit happened, I'm like, you know something? This is about time for me to get the fuck up out of here. That's when I had I warned a family member of mine with what they were doing. People, it's funny that shit happened then, because shortly after, actually, no. That happened after the Great Louisiana Flood. They tried setting me up with some bullshit firearms before. They did, and I'm calling that out too. One morning, I'm walking down the sidewalk. I just got off of work. I'm tired as hell. And these idiots left three firearms on these old couple's fucking lawn. People, this is right next to a fucking bus, literally bus stop for kids. This was right next to a fucking bus stop for kids. The police knows about this, and they seem to be A-okay with having these idiots, these criminals, leave that shit laying down there as a desperate attempt to set somebody up. Right next to a damn bus stop. This is why I'm not having no kids, man. These people who do have, these gang stalkers who have kids, they don't give a fuck about them. They don't give a fuck about them. No. They do not give a flying fuck about their own kids. They don't. Because why the hell would you work with people who do that? Why would you work for these idiots who are changing the law? And then these same motherfuckers who are high up in power are the same motherfuckers who use weather warfare to basically fuck over your homes, your livelihoods too. Same motherfuckers who even put the fucking, pardon my language. The same people who even put these diseases in the damn cities for experimentations. Crazy. Just crazy, man. In so many ways. And they had the audacity to call a target individual crazy. Nah, motherfucker, you got that stuff twisted. You got that whole thing twisted the wrong way. You do. It ain't TIs who are crazy or mentally ill. It's these people doing these perpetrous acts that are crazy and mentally ill. You can't tell me that you're a responsible parent and you working with people who would do that shit with a firearm. Who would leave it right there, laying down as a desperate attempt to set somebody up, knowing damn flipping flying well. People, let me tell you how obvious this was of a setup. The people across the street were standing outside. There's no way they didn't see that shit laying there. There's no way. Because I noticed them and I'm like, why the fuck are they standing out there? These motherfuckers got kids too. There's a possible chance they got kids too. So why the fuck did they not call the cops? You know? Like, what the fuck is up with that? You know, there's a whole lot of people waking up to this now. Like a lot of these fucked up groups. You have a lot of these kids who ended up shot over the years, yet you do not see them protesting about that. You don't see it. You don't see it. Now, I ask you, do you think these perps give a fuck about their own kids? Do you really think that? Because I don't. I wish they did give a fuck about their kids, but they don't. You don't give a fuck about your child if you are putting them in a harmful, environment like that. You do not give a fuck about your child if you are forcing them and literally fucking over their minds with this psyop bullshit with the masks. No one, dude, kids have the lowest, lowest experience when it comes to their, what is that? Their fucking, their immune system. It hasn't had any kind of experience yet. It's just, they literally just made it into this world. They barely had any experience. Then you put that mask shit on them. Are you serious? We know this shit does not protect them. People, these gang stalkers watch our channels every day. They know the truth behind this shit, yet they still give into it for money. But I've seen beyond this shit. This is why I don't argue with them. This is why I don't respond to them. This is why I do not pay them no mind. I simply, I gave the name of my channel out. I did. Of the main channel, the guide channel, which I had all that decent information, warning people about the shit that's in their food, everything. And these gang stalkers knew about it, but they still kept consuming this shit. They still kept using this stuff. And I'm like, okay, now I know your ass is not in control of yourself. That person is, whoever the fuck that is, these perps, they are not in control of their own damn behavior. They are being controlled. So I made this video here as a warning to people about this. These people, they may think that they're in control. No. That is someone else programming these idiots to do this shit. That's just the harsh reality of this. And I'm telling you, there's some pretty gnarly shit out there that you other fellow TIs who may not have seen. If you're wondering just how bad these things can get, it can get pretty damn bad. It can. For any other fellow TI who is planning on going off the grid, I recommend you do the same. Call their shit out before you go anywhere. Do that. Definitely do that. Because when you call them out on it, and they actually are stupid enough to do it, that proves your situation. It proves it. And I know as much as you went through, you shouldn't even have to do that. You show so many videos, so many situations related to your situation. But you want to know why you get some people in your comments who basically try to, try to say, oh, no, you crazy, this, that, and the other. Those are paid trolls. Those are paid trolls. I'm calling that out for what it is. And you got to think about it. First off, let me tell you something about my channels. And I mean all three. I make my content 18 and up. You want to know something about 18 and up content? You cannot find a person's channel like that unless you exactly know where to type in. You have to know what to type in just to find the channel. You would have to know. So who would be... Now, again, the only channel I told people about, I did say Mischievous M and I did say MMSTI Strategy Guy. I did. So I give them that. I did announce those ones. But, think about it. What's motivating these people to basically troll so many TIs like that, target individuals? Why not talk it out? And you want to know something? I prove a fact on this shit too. I did. I said, you know something? They like to tease a lot of TIs a lot. But you know what I'm going to do? I went in a live stream and I simply asked a simple question. Can we just debate this? Can we just have a decent chat about it? Maybe I can show you some shit, some information you have not seen, to prove that this shit exists. They didn't want to see it. They didn't care. They didn't want to communicate about it. They did not want me to do that. They did not want to discuss it. People, that's someone who's being paid off. That is someone who is being paid off. Okay? That's exactly what that is. You could show literally undeniable proof that this shit exists, but they don't want to see it. No, they don't. They do not want to see it. And the only time they would ever show it is if they have no choice but to try to debunk it. Because they got to make it, you step too far when you do that. You step too far when their whole taunting maneuvers don't work and you still have that calm-like demeanor and you try to, saying, well, I'm just trying to work this shit out. I'm just trying to basically get some answers here, Yet, I'm acting as a mature one here. But what does it mean when you see them constantly make these childish-like remarks? That makes them look childish. So how can you take somebody who has a childish-like demeanor seriously? You can't. You can't, because at the same time, that shows that, they're not, they can't be taken serious. I'm not finna go too far with this vid. Let me see what this rest of this thing says. It says, my take, Mr. Smith should have introduced the boys to leave in no uncertain terms as he was contacting police and getting to behind cover concealment. If one or more of the criminals had made a threatening move toward Mr. Smith, he would have been well within his rights to shoot the perp. Even better or worse, if one of the bad guys had been holding a weapon, not a warning shot, sender mass. Okay, so let's reread this again. My take, Mr. Smith should have instructed the boys to leave. Now, what did I say about the fence? I said when it came to that guy trying to perpetuate an argument with me, I left. I left the area of the aggressor. I left. I didn't stay there. I left. I said I'm exiting myself out of the situation. I want no part of it. But what did the guy do? He kept coming at me. He kept coming at me. He kept coming and coming and coming. He just kept coming my way in my direction in the vicinity where I was at. He chose to walk over to where I was at. He chose to engage in conversation when I told him to leave me the fuck alone. You get it? That's how you fucking handle this shit. That's why I said I recommended TIs. One of the reasons why I recommended TIs, get camera glasses. Get them. Because that shit, they can't pull that crap like that because then you see this for yourself. I'm going to read it for you again. My take, Mr. Smith should have instructed the boys to leave in no uncertain terms as he was contacting police and getting to behind or cover. Concealment. If one, you see how he's saying like trying to tell them to leave and then getting behind cover, that shows you're trying to get away from them. You're not trying to engage them. You're trying to get away from them. You see how that works? Understand, TIs, understand. You have the you got the fucking red carpet here, man. They are there to set you up. They need you, but you don't need them. That's how you handle it. So let's read it again. Mr. Smith should have instructed the boys to leave in no uncertain terms as he was contacting police and getting to behind cover or concealment. If one or more of the criminals had made a threatening move towards Mr. Smith, meaning approaching him, he would have been well within his rights to shoot the perp. Even better or worse, if one of the bad guys had been holding a weapon and they approached you, you're well within your rights to, to disengage your firearm. You're well within your rights then. I make this video for the defense of TIs who are also out there as gun owners because I'm telling you, don't be fooled by their bullshit. Because I've seen a video. And this was, I believe it was Matrix Adjustments video. They sent a perp over there. The dude actually used verbal harassment, man. He fucking used verbal harassment. This guy literally ended up saying, he was gonna do so. I'm not gonna say exactly what the words were, but he said, "Yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that." You see what that is? That is instigated aggression. They're trying to instigate aggression. When they use tactics like that, that's proof of intimidation. Man, if you see some shit like that and you catch that motherfucker engaged with the cops, oh, you got them, buddy. You literally got them where they don't want to be. You literally got them because if you catch footage of that shit, and you keep catching more and more of the shit that's happening to you, that's how you get the connection. That's how you get to connect the dots on all of this shit. That it is, you got your evidence. You see that the same motherfucker who basically came up, threatened you, just so happened to show up. You see, if you ever catch them exchanging goods at any time, exchanging goods with the police and shit like that, if you catch, that's the footage they don't want you to have. That is what they don't want you to have, is when they make those random exchanges with money, cash, and card, and all that shit. They don't want you having that footage. Because that's evidence, shows that there's an illegal operation going on of people being paid off to harass you. Cops are not supposed to harass their citizens. No. In no way, shape, or form are they supposed to do that. But they do it anyway, don't they? Including the FBI. So this is my message for TIs. Do not ever, and I do mean don't ever be intimidated. Don't engage if these perps make a threatening gesture towards you. If they make any type of intimidation tactics towards you, just take the evidence down. And I'm gonna read this article once more so you know how to enact on your defense if they try anything stupid. You don't have to sit there and get your ass kicked by a bunch of goons. No. Mr. Smith should have instructed the boys to leave, meaning telling them to go. Get the fuck away from me, basically. In no uncertain terms, as he was contacting police and getting to behind covert concealment, if one or more of the criminals had made a threatening move towards Mr. Smith, he would have been well within his rights to shoot the perp. Even better or worse, if one of the prep guys had been holding a weapon, not a warning shot, center mass. I know that's not the best case scenario for the more general, the gentle members of society. The best outcome is what actually happened, but the potential downside of a warning shot is too high. It's an escalation of hostility, and when you've got not one, not two, but three bad guys in play, the odds of success post warning shot attacks are pretty damn high. I hope the gang stalkers are paying attention to this, because you try anything, that's your ass. And I'm calling this shit out before it happens. I'm calling it out before it happens. I am. Anyway, as always, note to WTOK, I don't think Mr. Smith happened to have his gun on him at the time. And note to readers, there's no such thing as a warning shot. You shot at the perp and missed. That is all. Okay, so that's another thing I was wondering about, because now it's starting to make sense. There really is no such thing as a warning shot. There is no, doing that. And I figured it had to have been the case because, well, you see this shit in the movies, man. You see the stuff on TV shows, people firing in the air and then like just having a person stop. People don't do that shit. Number one, if you fire straight in the air, you don't know where the fuck that bullet's going to go. That could go anywhere. People don't think, man. They don't think. But anyway, this is just a brief warning. I will leave the link to this article in the description. TIs, this is definitely important information for you to know. But also, more importantly, because I understand all gun laws within every state is very different. read up on your gun laws, make sure that you are well protected and you protect yourself in the right manner of ways so that the shit will not basically come back and try to fuck you over. Now, here's the deal with the McDonald's incident before I leave off with this video. I've already mentioned how the guy kept trying, how I took the necessary footage. After that, I exit myself away from the situation. I had gotten more than enough footage and the audio recorder was still going, right? This is why I recommend TIs to always have an audio recorder, take as much video as necessary, and then have the audio recorder do the rest. Now, what happened was that after I got the necessary footage of the perp, I exit myself out of the way. Didn't want to talk to the staff. I didn't want to talk to the people who were also in the store because I know they were all full of shit. I knew they were full of shit. I sat down. I said, I'm not fucking with nobody. I'm keeping to myself. Don't come over near me. Just leave me be. Leave me the fuck be. That's it. That's all. That's all you got to say. Remember, they're there to set you up, not the other way around. That is how you handle the shit. That is how you deal with it. That is exactly how you do it. I hope TIs, definitely fellow TIs who are gun owners, do find this information useful. And I'm telling you, in a situation like this, you have to own a gun. But at the same time, it's bad considering the mind control technology that exists. This is why I'm also warning other TIs as well. Like, it is very important for you to deprogram yourself. They want you, and I know they do want you to talk. They want you to react when you're out. They want you to do this because they do use all sorts of this basically technology to fuck with people. They do. They really do. And if people who are still doubting this, man, look, let me tell you something. If you don't believe people are being gang stalked, look up Nappy Headed Roots and look at all the videos he had. You got people really acting a fucking fool in those videos, man. I believe I've been uploaded the Shuchan video. So that's another example. All those people who just pull up throwing that shit at his home. Man, first off, where's the aggression coming from? That's my question. Where is that aggression coming from? That's what I'd like to know. Let's go ahead and bring that up. Where the fuck did this shit that motivate these assholes to do what they did come from? Where'd it come from? Why they do what they did? But you see, they won't answer that. Because that will lead you to the truth. It'll always lead you to the truth. About the politics, man, look. Both sides are being controlled, dude. That's just my take on it. The only way we're going to see retribution is with the people. The only way we're going to end this is with the people. It's going to have to be with the people, not the government, to really make a change in this. I don't believe in fighting a civil war, but I do believe in the act of people defending themselves. I don't give a fuck who you are. People are entitled to defend themselves, but you need to know how to go about it. You need to know how to go about it, and you need to have evidence of the situation, because once you have the evidence and it shows everything, that motherfucker was the aggressor. They came at you. You didn't come at them. You told them to get here's the thing. This is why I say use your words. Tell them to get the fuck away from you. Tell them to go. Tell them to leave you the fuck alone. Tell them that. Because when you start to do that, that's more in line of your defense. If you're trying to get away from that, that's more of a defensive, position and not an offensive position. You don't ever want to be on the offensive position because that's what they want. That's where they want you at. They want you on the offensive so that they can set you up. You see how that works? Now they're pissed off that I know this. Unbelievable, man. These are some low down crooks we're dealing with today. In these dark times, seriously. The workers of iniquity is no joke. As always, stay safe, stay strong, everybody.